your car seems to be going very well, and last year is a distant memory now. Tell us about 2024 in Daytona.
Yeah, touch wood, not to jinx anything. It's been going rather well. Car feels very good. You know, last year we had a good car too, but we had a problem for most of race week. And so hopefully those gremlins are behind us and we can focus on this year and focus on just hitting our marks, not making any mistakes and getting the best result that we possibly can, and hopefully praying here that that's good enough.
Do you want a wet or dry for the weekend?
Oh, either. The Acura NSX is amazing in the wet as well. Obviously I'm English, so it rains all the time and I'm pretty decent in the rain.
You know that isn't true. The British Tourist Board have just cancelled any sponsorship you might be getting. Sheena, welcome back. What a year for you last year. You knew it was going to be a steep learning curve. You went at it at a very sensible rate. What do you feel you learned from last year that you can bring into 2024?
Just a little bit more confidence, you know, that I can just keep chipping away at it in a really healthy manner, not overstepping and making a mistake where I'm going to lose my confidence. And so I've just really been disciplined about how I'm going to build on the momentum that I have. You know, Katherine's been a great coach, specifically with the NSX. She's very familiar with the car. And so, you know, going into 2024 at this point now, it's like, okay, I've got a decent handle on the car at this point, and so now I can focus a little bit more on, you know, just racing with my subconscious in a way, because it's almost like I had to focus on how do I operate, you know, this part of the steering wheel, or what can I do with these buttons, and now it's a little bit more natural to me. And so I'm driving with the subconscious a bit more.
And so racing more as well, absolutely understand that. Hinch, welcome back. And this is a big year for you. It's a big year for your team, Faf, because they, after a long time with a different manufacturer, have got a brand new car. So you're all learning together.
That's one way of putting it. Yeah, there's a lot of learning happening in the 9 box for sure. No, it's great though. I mean, Pfaff Motorsports, incredible operation. They've had a very good track record with Porsche over the last almost decade. But they switched over to McLaren. Very excited about that. Interesting driver lineup. Only one guy with really any GT experience, so we're leaning pretty heavy on Marvin to learn, but Jarvis, Rossi, and I are slowly getting there. I'm told you do most of your learning in the race when you're coming into this thing, so we were actually picking their brains at dinner the other night, trying to figure out little tricks on how to get around in a GT3 car, but so far so good.
How to get out of the car.
That's a big part of it. Our driver change practice was pretty shocking, but we'll get there, baby steps.
Ollie Jarvis, is he really riled up that his qualifying record went the other day?
Well, it's funny because the GTP cars were doing their warm-up while he was sat in the car ready to go, and they were already going faster. And I was sitting there thinking, man, I hope he can't hear that, because I don't need him thinking about losing the track record right before he goes out and qualifies. And it was a good hour and a half after qualifying was over before somebody told him that it actually happened. So no, he handled it pretty well.
On your right, welcome to the guys from WTR Andretti. Filipe, my goodness, how quick was that session? All 9 cars that went out and qualified beat the Mazda record from 2019, I think it was, which had beaten a record that was more than 25 years old. Really starting to get a handle on these new GTPs now then?
I mean, yeah. For me it was even shocking as well to go that fast, because we were doing like 35s, 36. So then when we put new tires, obviously low fuel, and we were doing, it was actually funny because at one point I knew the best lap time was a 35.2 off the weekend. And as I go on the first flyer, the engineer told me, okay, best lap time is 34.9. And I was coming for a lap like 4.7. I was like, yeah, get ready for this. So I thought it was pole. And then the next time that I come by, I look at the tower that we can see the numbers, and I was already P6, like, damn it. Like, so everyone just like super fast. We went like 3 seconds faster than in there. So we were looking at the different speeds when Jenson was driving with, you know, normal session. through the bus stop, we was like 10 miles an hour faster. So it's just insane. So it was way quicker than ever before. I don't know why, to be honest. Like, it was cold.
Because you're all mad, that's why.
Oh, we need to go mad because otherwise you're last. I mean, it was all compressed in there. So a lot of fun to drive the car, and obviously we are discovering the car, the GTP. Obviously, it's a lot of power. Goes pretty quick on a straight, and again, I guess I was not fast enough.
Yeah, but it's only one lap.
I know.
The big headlines are on Sunday for a year, not last Sunday
That's
for a
why
week.
I'm not crying now.
Yeah, absolutely. Jenson, great to have you back, and great from my point of view to see you again, enjoying yourself in sports cars. Tell us a little bit about how this came about, because I'm led to believe that your introduction to the GTPs last year at Petit, and indeed this race, came from Garage 56 at Le Mans last year.
Well, they did. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone. It's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
It's great to be here, and
He's only got to say hello and he gets a round of applause.
yeah. Shall I just stop now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't beat that.
So the first time I actually came here was for the race here last year, for the Rolex 24 last year, when we were announced as Garage 56 for Le Mans. So Rocky, Jimmy, and myself, and the coach, Jordan Taylor. So that was the first time I actually came to this track, and then we did some testing post that, and I realised that the Garage 56 car is very big and very heavy, and that's the first thing I noticed it. And I also noticed that banking is very weird, but I've got used to it now, and it's great to come back here in a GTP. I've always loved this race, I always have. When I was racing in F1, so that was a long time ago, I used to watch this race on TV.
He was very young when he was in F1.
Exactly, so long time ago. But I've always loved it. I love the competition, and I love how tricky this circuit is in the cool conditions and the traffic. And there's nothing like IMSA. There's nothing like the Rolex 24. It's nuts. You know, you're out on track and you think, I've got a clean lap. I'm going to get a good lap in here, clean. And then 3 corners later, you're passing 3 GT cars and maybe an LMP2 thrown in there as well. So it is non-stop around here, and I absolutely love that about this race.
You are quite unusual in that already...
Full of compliments.
Always been through. You're quite unusual as a drop... No, that doesn't even... You've managed to already, in your very short GTP career, drive 2 of the manufacturer cars. Do you draw any comparisons between what you had with the Porsche 963 last year at Petit and what you've had so far with Wintiller and the Acura?
Oh, I actually tested 2 last week. So I was in Bahrain testing for WEC and then came here to test. So yeah, a good back-to-back. A good back-to-back, but actually it's not easy because they all have very, very similar controls, and I have to say, a lot of controls. I mean, forget the engineers, we just do everything in the car now, so it's super busy. Way too busy, but you get to grips with it and then you work out the controls that work for you. But everything's obviously different on the steering wheel in the different cars, in the different GTPs. So you learn one and then you go and drive the other one and everything's back to front. So it takes a bit of time, but here, you know, I've got good teammates and 7 of them. So it makes it a lot easier to learn the car, learn what works, what doesn't work, and they've all been very helpful.
It's going to be a massive scrap at the front of the field with the GTPs. No lesser competition in GTD and GTD Pro. We said, Katherine, that the times are looking pretty good for you guys. I think there's been a BOP change today, which I haven't really got my head around completely. How much does how you do at Daytona set the mood, if you like, because it's such a big race? How much does that set the mood for the rest of the year? It's like starting off with the FA Cup final at the start of the season, or the Super Bowl, starting the NFL season with the Super Bowl. It's a bit of a bizarre one.
It is. It's also somewhat standalone, right? Like, I don't know that anybody thinks of Daytona as part of their season. They're just very focused on Daytona. And then we kind of come off that, and of course it rolls into the rest of the season, but being our biggest race, and one that has eluded me for the 12 years that I've been trying to do it, I am just super focused on Daytona, and we'll figure out the rest of the season once we get past it.
Points-wise, it's really important, isn't it, for the rest of the year? Because
Really
we've seen if you
important.
get a good start.
Yeah, and even qualifying, we got points for qualifying last week, so it is very important, but I think that it's also how much sacrifice you make for the rest of the year just for Daytona, and there's so much that goes into it. But I can tell you, we haven't thought much past Daytona at this point in time.
And Sheena, you were saying that you're now feeling a lot more confident in yourself and with the car. There's been no changes to the car through the off season, so you are in exactly the same package?
Yeah, it's the same car. It's still the Evo 22 package, which came out, I think, two or so years ago. So sort of feels like home at this point. I kind of understand the behavior and the dynamics of the car, so it'll be nice to move forward with that.
And you have to do qualifying, don't you? You did qualify. No, Katherine, you did qualify, didn't you? Oh, hello. Daytona's different, isn't it?
Daytona's, again, very standalone in the way that they do qualifying, because normally the bronze driver qualifies in GTD. At Daytona, anybody can qualify, and you qualify for points. And you don't get new tires if you're a bronze when you start, but anybody can start. So they qualified me, but for example, we could start Sheena, or we could start one of any of the four of us. So it's very unique in the way they do it too.
In fairness, I should have known that because I called qualifying on Sunday, but that seems about a month away in several time zones as far as I was concerned, because I was in Abu Dhabi when I did that. However, you will be qualifying for the rest of the season, Sheena. Now, how do you think you're going to find that, and what have you been working on that? Is that a skill that you have to get?
I would say that was my weakest point last year, was just coming to grips with how much more I can get out of the car on the new tires and the low fuel, and just feeling the comfort that, like, hey, on lap 3 I can really push this thing a lot more. It's difficult to say at this point in time, like maybe for Sebring, maybe Tatiana will qualify, so it's kind of tough to say right now, but obviously in all the sprint races, that's my job, and so I do feel, I'm not going to say pressure, but that's probably at the pointy end of my task list to get better at, is just, to be a little higher up in the standings when it comes to the qualifying.
I want you to start thinking about some questions out there. Anybody got one? Just stick their hand up, otherwise I'll keep moving down the line. Where we got one? Somebody shouting out there? No? All right. James, we mentioned, and you mentioned, that there's quite a few challenges. With qualifying having already taken place on Sunday, this week is all about race setup, and in some ways that is quite different from what you'd normally have at a race week.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, setting the car up for one lap is very different than setting it up for essentially 24 hours, right? It's not even just one stint. The track changes so much, the conditions change so much. The car has to be in a pretty wide window and very kind of easy to drive over different conditions, different drivers, different driving styles, and finding that compromise is a big challenge. You've taken racing drivers who are inherently selfish and me, and you've put them with a bunch of other me. Yeah, I know, it's shocking to learn. I know.
This is my international not surprised face.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of a unique challenge in that sense, when you've not come from that sort of background to learn to work with other drivers like that, and you kind of have to lean especially on the full-time guys that more than likely will be ending the race. That's when it really matters, right? They kind of talk about this being 2 races. You got to survive the first 20 hours, and then you kind of start, gearing up for the last 4.
20 hours of qualifying and a 2-hour sprint on the end.
Right.
This young gentleman down here would like to ask a question. What's your name, first of all? Benjamin. Where are you from, Benjamin?
I'm from here.
You from where? All right, here in Daytona. What would you like to ask?
What kind of personal vehicle?
Ah, right. What kind of personal vehicles do you drive on the road? JP, what do you drive? When you're allowed to? Or are you chauffeur driven all the time?
What can I mention? I can actually I can mention my car company. So I drove that yesterday. I've got a Radford Type 62, which is like a little carbon fiber sports car. It's like another brand, but more power and a lot lighter. So very cool.
You take your kids to school on the Radford?
No, I take the wife's car, which is a G-Wagon.
So you drive it?
Wife's car, I can say that.
You used to have Hondas, though.
Honestly.
I know you did. You used to have, Hondas. You used to have a Honda, didn't you?
Yes. Why I drove for Honda for
Well, exactly.
8 years of my F1 career, so many years with Honda. So
Filipe, what do you have?
So, almost like a minivan, no.
Yeah, of course. We all have minivans.
I
don't have a
can
minivan.
sound cool like Jenson, right? So
Well, your own car manufacturer.
exactly, right? Just like I have an Alpha classic car, that's what I drive. But to be honest, when I'm at home, because my wife takes the kids to school, when I'm home I need to take the girls to school and to the ballet and to gymnastic, to the swimming. So
Because they have a better social life than any of
I
us.
drive a family car, that's it. But yeah, I have to tell you now, like I've been driving here around like an Acura Integra Type S. Really
Nice.
quick, pretty cool. So it is loud. It is loud. We stand next to his bus, like, can you hear it? And there's like a nice exhaust on the back.
Ah, that's what was on the rev limiter earlier on. Right on it. James,
Well, sadly, not a McLaren. Haven't
there's
worked
time.
that into my
There's
deal
time.
yet.
How,
maybe-
how did you let that slip, man?
So where's my manager? He's down there somewhere. We'll yell at him later. I've got again, we've got dogs, so we need big cars. We've got a Honda Pilot and we've got a GMC Yukon. So it's all big cars in my house.
Come on, Sheena, come on, get us out of this. Tell us you drive something deeply impractical with 2 seats.
I do.
Excellent!
Well, I'm gonna give the surprise answer first, but it's also kind of like I have 2 dogs, and so like I've had this car for a long time, and I just kind of, it's my dog mobile and like my airport car. So I have a Fiat 500 Abarth.
Oh, nice.
It's like a lab and a golden retriever, but I just lay the back seats down, and then they just get the whole back. So it's kind of their car.
That's cool.
I have a Mercedes AMG GTC that I drive most of the time. And then my fun car, which is...
Oh, hang on. Because the AMG GTC's
it's
not
kind of-
that much fun.
I kind of say it like with my tail between my legs because it's sad, because it's a little too much of a garage queen, unfortunately. I have a Ford GT.
Have you got a Ferrari, by the way, as you're wearing that? Did you drive here in your Ferrari, Benjamin? Did you? All right, okay. Catherine, what are you... Well,
God, it's
you're moving around so much. I mean, is there any point in having a car, or are you just renting stuff? Or you get people to drive you? How does it work?
I have a chauffeur.
Yeah, I've seen your dad already. Yeah, he's,
Wouldn't that be nice? I don't let him drive. Are you crazy?
funny he said exactly the same about you.
I drove here. I can tell you, I drove here, and to be politically correct, a MDX Type S.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a nice car, but it's not my daily driver. But that sadly is not a Acura or a Honda, so I probably shouldn't talk about it too much.
Tell them about your motorcycle.
Oh, you got a bike now?
Hi, Daddy. Sorry, if you could just like block your ears, that'd be great.
Have you done your test?
You dum dum.
No?
Exclusive! This is embarrassing.
Motorcycle is soon to be available on eBay.
Yes, absolutely. Only one careful owner. Famous.
I didn't know it was a secret.
So, interesting, there'll be driver changes.
I'm not allowed to drive a motorcycle.
When did you pass your test?
No, I'm not allowed to drive a motorcycle. I don't have a motorcycle. I don't know what she's talking about. She made this whole story up.
Catherine.
You gotta tell me that's a secret.
Excellent. I'll speak to you about that. I'll speak to you about that later. As a BMW K1600 GT.
It's a Triumph.
You got a Triumph? I've got no
Cafe
Triumph.
Racer. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, nice. Very nice. There you go. There's your answer. Any more questions out there? If I go through, ladies and gents, again. Yes, young lady. Come on forward, because my ears are rubbish now, because I'm getting old. What's your name, first of all? Vanessa, where are you from? You're from Orlando. Okay, thanks for coming to see us. What would you like to ask? Oh, everyone's favourite teammate. Well, there's 2 teammates here who are going to just say, oh yeah, it's this one.
Well, I don't have one anymore. She's dead to me.
That's deserved.
Oh, we're going to leave those 2 alone for a moment. Catherine's going to go and sit on the other end now and just be so. Hinch, who's been your favourite teammate? You had some characters, in fairness, down through the years.
I have, and I've got a cast of characters with me this weekend.
You certainly have.
But no, I mean, one of my teammates this weekend has also been a teammate of mine in IndyCar and is a good friend of mine. So I'll go Alexander Rossi, who should be here, but he's too busy driving his IndyCar today to make it.
It's rather unfortunate.
Yeah, what a loser.
I'll ask you about this because you touched on it about, you know, the differences. You're a teammate in IndyCar, you don't share the car, obviously. So that's a completely different dynamic in terms of the sporting side of things than being teammates with guys who are going to get in the seat before or after you.
Yeah, and that's why it's really funny with Rossi, because I was just a straight competitor against him first. Then we were teammates in IndyCar. We also did the Bathurst 1000 together, so we've worked together in that capacity. Now we're doing this gig together. So I've had to go from like hating him and not helping him at all, to hating him a little bit less and helping him a little bit, to having to like him and share a lot with him. It's been a weird cycle for me. And it's tough to learn to like Rossi. I don't know if you guys know him well. Pretty miserable character most of the time. But when you're in this position, you just gotta deal with, you know, the hand you've been dealt.
Wait till he gets here. Come on, Filipe, tell me about your favourite teammate. And if you say Jenson, we're not going to believe it.
Exactly.
Well, he's the smiliest teammate you'll have ever had.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke. Actually, I just met him
He's a
now,
good
so
bloke.
I can always say Ricky is my teammate, and it's going to be our 4th year, and we gel like from day one. It's just unbelievable teammate, like just such a nice guy. He makes me. I think that people tell me like I'm a kind of nice guy. People tell me, but right. But next
he
to
pays them to tell
but
him that,
next
you know.
to Ricky, I kind of feel like an arrogant guy because he is a different world in terms of kindness and nice people. He is super fast as well, so he's just like a great driver. But if not, I would mention him. I don't know. I just been kind of lucky with Christian Fittipaldi. We won together here, and Bruno Senna. Some Brazilians I have there. Like been lucky with my teammates, to be honest.
Jenson, your career path has come through single-seaters, started off in karting. I remember you in juniors. I think I do, yes. I am that old. So you've had a similar career path to James, where you've had teammates who are teammate really in name only, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I've had teammates. I don't know if you know this guy. His name's Lewis Hamilton. He's okay. I was teammates with Lewis 3 years. Fernando Alonso for a couple of years. Jacques Villeneuve. So yeah, I've had some interesting teammates over the years.
When's the book coming out?
Well, it's out already. But for me, my favourite teammate in F1 would have been Rubens Barrichello, because just all-round nice guy, and one of the best guys at setting up a race car ever. You know, I completely understand why Michael Schumacher had him as a teammate for so long, because he is absolutely awesome at setting up a race car.
All right, who was your worst teammate then? That wasn't the question, I know, but I'm going to ask you that. In Formula One, because obviously everybody in sports cars is lovely.
Yes, exactly. Ralph wasn't great. Schumacher. Jacques Villeneuve.
Just say that. There was like
Jacques Villeneuve didn't like me very much.
Didn't even dip the clutch there. He was straight up.
It was fine. Once we got to know each other, it was fine. But Jack, when I arrived at BAR, which is his team, said that I should be in a boy band, not in a racing car. But it's okay because I beat him that year, and he retired. So can I sing? Yes. Oh, I'll show you later if you want. But
oh no, come on, let's start now. You see, look what you're doing.
And in endurance racing, I've not been in endurance racing for that long. I had a great teammate in Japan called Naoki Yamamoto-san, who is one of the best drivers I've ever had as a teammate. But I would say, for all round, I would say Jimmy Johnson. Because he is just, you know, he's a guy that I've admired for years. We ended up being teammates at Le Mans, and he drinks like a fish.
And you didn't have any fun in that Le Mans event at all.
No, we didn't.
Every week they were every day of the week they were right up the far end of the pit lane, and every time I walked all the way up there to go and get an interview or whatever, there was just a party going on. It was absolutely outstanding. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a cracking week. It's 107.9 FM, which is WDIS. That's where you'll get all of our commentary. You can tell your friends back home. We've got the video going up as well throughout the week with the Team Mazda MX-5 races, and then the race on Saturday through into Sunday. Will you put your hands together, please, and thank our drivers on stage, Katherine, Sheena, James, Filipe, and Jenson Button. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Race well, have fun.